Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Purpose Summit. I'm Sue Erda. I'm your host for this event, and I'm so grateful to be here to present to you these amazing co-authors of the book, Women Living on Purpose. And I really am so honored to talk to them. I love it. I am so inspired by them. I learn so much every single time with each of them that I talk to. I come away with at least one nugget and usually more than that. So I'm excited to do this, and I'm happy that you as a listener are listening to this because I know this means that you are on your own journey of purpose. Whatever part of your purpose, wherever you are in that, maybe you're finding your purpose, you're living into it, you're figuring out, what's next for you. You're here and you're in the right place. And these interviews, these women will help you do that. So I'm excited today to be talking with Sharon Ann Rose. I'm going to read a brief introduction of her and then we'll get started speaking with her. Sharon Ann Rose is an author, wise woman, and visionary leader who's worked in the field of feminine wisdom for more than 20 years. She helps soul-sensitive, creative women in midlife and beyond to rebirth themselves and reclaim their power, beauty, and lasting legacy. She's the author of Faces of the Mother, a journey, a collaboration of feminine restoration, and has created several workbooks and courses. Sharon shares one-on-one mentorship, sisterhood empowerment, and offers retreats across the country. Walking barefoot and staring at the sky are her favorite pastimes, and they're mine too. And Sharon, I'm happy to talk with you today. How are you?
Oh, thank you, Sue. It's wonderful to be here. I'm so deeply honored and I'm very well.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to our conversation because I love what you're talking about. Your title, Trust Thyself. Trust is a huge word that I think is misunderstood and a lot of people don't lean into. So I'm excited to talk with you about that today. So it's your whole title is Trust Thyself. Your inner power will recreate your life. Cool. I can't wait. But let's start with why don't you tell us, Sharon, a little bit about your personal journey and how it led you to where you are today?
Yes, thank you, Sue. So I'll go right to my title. In terms of my personal journey has deeply been about learning to trust myself, and not in the ways that one might think, like you just alluded to. It's that going into the dark, into the place where there is no light inside of me, and learning to sit in there and really befriend this very uncomfortable part that doesn't trust herself, that's ashamed of being who she is, that's, really at odds with certain aspects inside, and really bringing that forward and saying, you know what, I'm going to be the one who loves myself first. I'm going to be the one who is my greatest, caretaker, my greatest nurturer, my greatest support team, and really discovering how to do that. And as a young child, I was born talking with trees and plants and creatures and so many things that come from that invisible, unseen realm. And so I quickly learned that there is much more to life, especially things that exist in the shadows or exist in the places where we don't have a way, a 3D way of seeing them and connecting with them. So it's taken me years and all kinds of practice and training, to really come into a deeper place inside of myself that said, I can stand for how I was designed. And these, my own gifts, my own uniqueness, my own flaws, and keep coming home to these and knowing that when I trust that inside of me, then I live a very rich, on purpose, magical life.
Beautiful. I love that. And it does take years, I think. Many people think, oh, I should have been there. I'm like behind or something in my life. But do you think that allowing yourself that time to, live into it served you?
Yes, and I have a sense we'll talk about this more in our conversation today, but in all honesty, even though I have been immersed in this field of feminine wisdom for over 20 years, it has not been until the last 3 to 5 years that I've really come to trust who I am in this field with this wisdom. And so I was very surprised because again and again, there's just this deepening, this refining. It's kind of like a rich meal, that you make, that as you simmer it longer, I'm thinking of a pot of delicious, sauce for pasta. It's like it only gets better as you simmer longer and longer and add a little more of this spice and a little more of that. And then you're sitting back going, oh my God, I'm the stew, I'm the sauce, and I will only get better with age and time.
I love it.
And attention, lots of attention.
Yeah,
Mm.
attention to it too, for sure, and adding the spices of life in. That's beautiful. I love that. Love the thought of that, and I think everybody can relate to that. Sharon, I know that you help women during their major life transitions, and you help them to become more purposeful and intentional in their lives. Why are you passionate about that?
Yeah, thank you. Beautiful question. I'm really passionate about our transitions because in the transitions is when the stew cooks down and we learn so much about who we are and how we're going to actually make it to the next step, the next moment. Because in our fast paced culture, we are whipping past the transitions. We're so focused on the summer or the winter that we don't understand, like, look how summer actually becomes autumn. Look how autumn blends in and is inside of winter. And so I bring so much support to a woman really slowing down and empowering herself to live into her transitions, because that's where she tastes her own flavor and her own medicine and realizes like who she is as a creator, as a creatress, and is able to bring forward her own inner wisdom to help her through what can be very challenging. Those bridges. I often talk about the bridges, like what actually gets us from here to there, what gets us from the past to the woman we want to be. And the medicine is literally living inside of us, inside of the transitions. And when we slow down and really notice how we're walking through those, there is profound wisdom that opens up and feeds us so that it can help us know what's the next best step to take into our most lustrous, beautiful, vibrant life.
Yeah, absolutely. There are lots of women out there probably listening right now who are in, let's call it midlife, like what,
Mm.
and that, it's a transition, but it's also our life. It's today and it's happening right now. So what do you think we're missing as a culture that could better support women during this midlife time of their life and also help them with more well-being and more vitality in the world?
Yeah, midlife is something that I've really come into as my passion and focus because of my own journey and my struggle, and leading on from the past question about transitions, I have been startled how long midlife takes. This is not something that's taken me overnight, not even a few months, not even a few years. Like I'm going on 10 years of really deep conscious, my body as well as my whole life transitioning. And so we as a culture, from my own experience, I'm a very well-resourced woman. I have an amazing community, of healers around me. So, as soon as I started struggling, I was tapping into all kinds of beautiful resources, and people, healers, doctors, all kinds of things. And I'll say, even though everything that has supported me has helped, there was something that was lacking. And it was, the support team to say, turn inward, honey. Your body knows, and so do you, how to make it through this. Your body is natural. Your body is organically connected to all of life. You can trust your body, because that was the first thing that I started doing, was distrusting what was happening. And I was quite terrified at all the symptoms that I was going through. And so I become so passionate about it because with my background in women's studies and such a deep awareness of, feminine alchemy and this whole field of a different way of accessing wisdom and power and intuition, I realized that in midlife, we have the opportunity to really rewrite our entire book, literally and figuratively, symbolically. We have the opportunity to change our language, to change how we often outsource our own power and begin to really in-source the wisdom and power so that we can set the tone for a totally different, not just a chapter, but an entire platform for the second half of our life. So I'm incredibly dedicated to helping women be held in this kind of very open-ended care that supports a woman to turn inward and value what's beginning to happen and bring that forward as, the book that she's going to follow versus all the books that everybody else is writing, trying to tell her how to do it. So
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate, because I have struggled so much, even with all my background and my training and with the hundreds of women I've worked with. So I was really, really startled what began happening inside of me. So I realized this is a deep need in our culture at this time to work with women and help them re-empower at a time when literally their entire brain and body and hormones are supporting them to turn inward and really reclaim this fire of their own passion and who they are.
Yeah, it's so interesting because you're absolutely right. We look outward. We look for something outside of ourselves. Something's happening. The midlife thing is happening for me, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's got to be a book. There's got to be a teacher. There's got to be a doctor. There's got to be somebody out there, a healer that can help me through this. And it feels like chaos. It feels like dismantling. It feels like just really chaos and that uncertainty of what is next for me. And we do look outside of ourselves. But and maybe this is the answer is how can women feel more powerful during this time of chaos? That midlife is a gift, and how can they feel empowered in this really?
Yes. And you phrased it gorgeously, bringing in these words of chaos and dismantling, because literally the body and the brain are totally transforming. And it's like the ground from underneath us is slipping away. And we have to reach in to create that new platform of stability, that new platform of ease and grace, and something we can stand on, because the outer is not going to, be strong and stable for us anymore. And so when a woman can really turn inward, ever so gently, ever so kindly, and start unhooking from all the places that she has very chaotically leaned into the chaos and been like, well, I must be like that too. There must, like you're saying, let me find the answer here or out there, or go to that person. Because we have to really reclaim our own how to, our own manual, and begin to build that from deep inside of us, from our own certainty that we will make it through this time, and that out of chaos beauty is born, and we are the ones who are able to do that for ourselves. Ultimately, no one else can do it for us. If we continue to rely on others, we are only going to get so far. We're not going to drop in to the deep, deep, deep power within us that helps us literally become the eye in the storm, that helps us stand, so calm and centered and solid in the whirlwind, in the tornado, in the chaos, in what's going on in our culture right now. Even, this is such a gorgeous symbol of what a woman in midlife is learning to do. She's helping to literally rebuild a culture that so desperately needs this kind of peaceful, inner harmonious way of relating to her own sense of her center
Hmm.
and her well-being.
Beautiful. So I've heard you say many times during this few minutes that we've been talking, trust yourself, trust your body, trust, and the title of your interview, trust thyself. It's like, how can we do that? Like, that's two questions here, really. How can we do that? It sounds like that's a foundational tenet that you work upon. You got to trust yourself. You must trust your body. And when you do that, things fall into place. Is that the empowerment part of that? Why is this essential for us to do this?
Yes, it's so essential, because I believe things are only going to get more heightened, for a while. Things are going to only swirl more in our world. And when a woman has the capacity, and I'm going to demonstrate it right now, to literally close her eyes to the outer. And I invite everyone right now to do that with me, even just for a brief moment. Just close your eyes, hand to heart, breath all the way down into the belly and the body. And we might say something when we greet that belly space, when we greet that core anchor of, I trust you, my dear body. I trust you, my deep knowing. And just breathe into that. And that seems like something so simple and basic, but it is actually so profound because when we honor above all else our own inner grounding and connection, then we become the stability, not just for our own selves and the chaos of our world, but then we provide that for everyone around us and for all those lives who we will touch. And it really helps our nervous system to relax. It helps our breath to deepen. And that impacts, our way of being in the world and the way that we, quite simply create everything that we do and
Mm.
offer.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Sharon, you often speak about, and I'm going to read this part, you often speak of cultivating a sustaining relationship with the beauty of us that's here to grow from within. That sounds beautiful, first of all. Can you tell us more about what that means and what that is, and how do we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel myself tearing up a little bit because just that term, the beauty within, I think most of us can relate to from the moment we're born, we're often actually told something quite different. We're told we're bad, we're wrong, that of course there's nothing good, true, or worthy or valuable inside of us. So when we are beginning to just reorient and turn inward constantly with that kind of message of, wow, there's only beauty inside of me. Like even the things that are challenging and what, the world has told me are dark are beautiful too. It causes our brain to do that one of those like, zip, I can't wrap my head around this. So I talk about this often. Of first one, just letting that be the tenant of your life. Know that there is beauty inside of you, and that's it, period. No question, no, second guessing that. That's it. And then when we begin to connect ever deeper with this and create sustaining practices. And so by sustaining, I mean long term and enduring. And I'll go back around to what we were previously speaking. This isn't something that's going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen with tomorrow morning you decide you're going to do a new meditation practice. And, well, that was great for that day, but then you move on to something else. This is that thing we do more deeply that we are so committed to because we're saying we want to live and breathe from inside of our own selves. We want to contribute. We want to serve. We want to love. And so by working with this inner platform of beauty within us, it really teaches us how to show up fully and, enjoy being who we are in life and trusting ourselves and living on purpose.
Beautiful. So let's do a little problem solving, Sharon. So,
Right.
what do we do for those people that are listening? Because, gosh, maybe this isn't anybody, but what would we do if we felt overwhelmed
Mm.
or fed up during midlife? Because I'm guessing that happens to everybody, because there is this chaos that's happening. How do we do that? How do we deal with it? And what does it do to us if we don't deal with it? How does it impact our health, our relationships,
Mhm.
ourselves, and really our interaction with the world?
Mhm. Yeah. So again, beginning with, okay, there's only beauty in me. Okay. So hence this kind of disruption, this frustration, this overwhelm is incredibly natural. It's totally fine. It's, first we breathe into it and allow it. We do not resist to overwhelm because, as you said, we are all going to feel overwhelmed, especially when the chemicals in your brain are changing, when, that call for deeper purpose, deeper life begins to rise up in you, and it ain't gonna stop. Like it only gets hotter and more fiery. It grabs you by the hair and says, no more. You're in your late 30s, 40s, 50s. Now you've got to start living on purpose and intentionally. You've got to live your dreams. So beginning with like so much care and kindness and just acceptance of the overwhelm. And then, as we've been speaking about today, just that consistent dropping in of, I trust myself. I have beauty in me. These seem like such basic things, but we don't want to get too complicated because we want that sustaining relationship with our inner connection to be very simple, very basic, something we can do on the next breath. And then on the next breath, that it will just keep carrying us and we don't go into the brain and start trying so hard to like figure out something that doesn't need to be fixed. We are not a problem. We are beautiful. So again, that, what we even did before is a really concrete way, closing the eyes, dropping in, taking a minute, saying, I believe in myself. I trust myself. I am a source of beauty. And it can really help us, give us just that one, because all it is to get us through overwhelm is one more breath, one more step. You know, it's not like, how am I going to do this for the next month, the next year, the next 10 years? It's what, how am I going to make it onto this next breath and allow it to breathe me into being and take me, one more moment on this path of my gorgeous life.
I love that. I love that. And your voice is very soothing. Like I can get more calm just listening to you say, there is beauty in me. All of that is beautiful. And I know that I have that voice in my own head too. And I know that everybody listening has their own voice in their head and their heart, that if they just listen to their own voice and say those things to themselves, they'll feel that calm, that ease that I feel when I'm listening to you today. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Beautiful. So Sharon, this has been great. I love it. And I know that you have a gift for our listeners. Would you please tell them about that and also how they can reach out to you if they want to connect with you in some way?
Yes, my pleasure. So you can find me online at my website. It's sharonannrose.com. And for the listeners of this beautiful summit today, I have a gift to carry you, into this deeper place of self-love, self-preservation of deep beauty connection. So I have a gorgeous recording. I'm known for my guided processes. So that will be there for you. And you will go to my website, my webpage, sharonannrose.com/gift, GIFT, and then you will sign up and receive that gift. It's such a joy to connect with women more deeply on this path of empowering us to really love ourselves first and show up for our own trust in us.
Trust thyself. I love it. This is beautiful. Thank you so much, Sharon. I really appreciate talking with you today. And I'm so grateful that you decided to be a part of this whole journey, this Women Living on Purpose journey, which your story in the book is really beautiful. It's very deep, I will say. I read it and I love it. I felt ensconced by you in your story. So, our listeners will feel something like that too. They'll have their own journey, of course, but I love it. So thank you for that. And thank you for sharing yourself just generally, because your spirit is beautiful. And I appreciate you being part of that and lending that to this project.
Thank you so much, Sue. It's truly a gift for me as well. Such an honor.
Beautiful. Awesome. And listeners, I know, as I said in the beginning, you are here for a purpose too. You are here because you are on your own journey of purpose. I really hope you've been enjoying these interviews and that you will take what you have learned and incorporate it in your own life for whatever is in your own highest and best good. And so, having said that, there are a couple of tools here for you. So we have the free ebook that you received when you signed up for the summit. That is a bunch of tips for living on purpose. Each author has shared a 200-word tip, one page in this ebook, that are simple tips that you can bring in, practices, tips, guidelines. Great stuff for you. So be sure you read that ebook and use that. Also, we have this book, Women Living on Purpose, which is coming out on June 29th. That is launch day, June 29th. On launch day, if you come to our website, which is womenonpurposebook.com, womenonpurposebook.com, we will guide you to Amazon to buy the book, where you can buy either the paperback or you can buy a 99-cent Kindle on that day, June 29th. You bring back your Amazon receipt number to our website, plug it in, and you'll have access to more than 35 gifts from our authors and partners. So you will love that. They are just beautiful, wonderful gifts. Everything is free. They are gifts and they are for you. And I know they will help you on your journey. So be sure to do that. You will love it. You'll be happy with it. You'll be so grateful that you did that and gave yourself that gift. So thank you all again for being on this journey with us. We appreciate sharing this time and this space and this life with you. Thank you for that. Continue on your journey of purpose, because the world needs you to live your own purpose. We need you. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.